Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today we're going to be talking about Wish. In this video, we're going to dive a little bit into due diligence, technical analysis, and what we can anticipate on November 10th. That's their next conference for the earnings. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So Wish, almost everyone has heard about Wish before. They have really launched a massive marketing campaign. We previously even talked about it. You'll find a previous video in the description below. But their mission here is to bring affordable and entertaining mobile shopping experience to billions of customers around the world. Around 2020, revenue was around $2.5 billion. That was around 34% year-over-year growth. 2020 monthly average users averaged out around 107 million users, which is a 20% year-over-year growth. And they have around $2 billion in cash and cash equivalents. In terms of partner merchants, that's around 550,000, and they have more than 50,000 Wish local partners, and they serve more than 100 countries. Now, there is some of the latest news. The last one was actually on October 19th, and all it did say was their earnings for the third quarter is going to be announced on November 10th, 2021. Now, we did see the previous earnings and how they compared. So here is the press conference in general. It would be around 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can sign up online to watch that one. We'll make a video and update towards that one as well afterwards. So make sure you subscribe if you want to hear commentary about it and someone go through it. Now, in terms of the last actual PR before this earnings one was on October 4th. And basically all it says is that the position in Spain through partnership with Spain carrier Correos, and basically trying to go with over 8,000 Spanish merchants through this partnerships and open up their doors towards the Spanish market. Now, in terms of their latest investor presentation, it did mainly highlight quarter two rather than actually quarter three, and even quarter one majorly here in terms of the results highlights. And what you get to see here, and the only reason I'm going over this is to get a kind of an idea about the trend, is that things have been a bit floppy with revenue. Quarter 1 2020 was $440 million. Quarter 2, with the pandemic starting off, was around $701 million. Around quarter 3 2020, dropped back to $606. Quarter 4 2020, around Christmas and the holidays and all that, that really skyrocketed to $794 million. Around quarter 1 2021 was $772 million, and they don't have for quarter 2 2021, but luckily I do have this information here, and it was $656 million. So it really dropped back down for quarter 2. And quarter 3 will really set the stone to give an understanding on, will the company continue to grow post-pandemic, or is the demand for materials or products that might not be exactly original? I'm just going to say that in terms of description just to not get demonetized. But basically, we all know what the kind of products they sell, or at least the majority of them. Very similar to AliExpress, just maybe a little bit cheaper in quality. Now, this cheaper quality has been addressed before from their PRs. I did talk about that before. They're going to have something like a quality index, where you're able to see how the quality of the product is instead of Wish being a hit or miss, which has been popularly known as that. You might get a product, let's say you're getting a backpack, you might get a hamster-sized backpack, and you might get a normal backpack. So that's been a thing. Out of experience, as something happened to me. But anyway, Wish is integrating that kind of confidence level through a bit of kind of an index about product quality. Now, their adjusted EBITDA, you're able to see currently they're hitting around $79 million in loss. Their quarter 2 2020 was the only positive one in the last few quarters, and net loss is around $128 million in the last quarter for quarter 1. Now, in terms of quarter 2, we do have that information as well. So their net income was around $111 million, the best in a while, except for quarter 2 2020. And their overall diluted normalized EPS was 17 cents. So we're definitely going a little bit in the right direction. Now, on other things that we're able to see is Wish investments highlight, so in terms of the massive and growth opportunity in the mobile e-commerce, focusing on large and unpenetrated value-conscious consumer groups, strong data science advantage and diversified revenue via services and geography, and proprietary logistics platform is some a few of the things here. And in terms of the value conscious consumers, they basically have around 60 million users in the US and around 300 million in Europe. So there's still a lot of market to capture outside the realm of these two groups. Now, they also are trying to go towards advertising, business operations, data intelligence, demand generation, and logistics, and they're really trying to build themselves very similar to AliExpress and Amazon. There's other presentation material here, things relating towards forecast, Q2, but quick thing, let's just take a look into Q2 2021 in order to understand how they compare to the results and how we can compare towards their current forecast for Q3. So in terms of the revenues, they were meeting or anticipating between 730 and 717. Q2 2020, you're able to see that their total net revenue or operating income was around 114 million. Meanwhile, their total revenue was 656. So they definitely felt short on the Q2 2021. In terms of the adjusted EBITDA, they anticipated between 60 and 55 million in loss, and their adjusted EBITDA could be seen here. And what you see is that the stock is definitely not really meeting that requirement either. It's around 111 million. So that, at least that's not the total adjustable net income, but the income available to common excluding extra items, which is very similar to the adjusted EBITDA. So that kind of gives you an idea that they did fall short of their current estimates, but in terms of all in all considered, they still have some good growth, but their expenses are a little bit higher than anticipated. Now, in terms of their current price over book, that's 387, which is on par with the SP 500 or even a little bit undervalued. The price over sales is 1.21, which is lower, almost half than what the market is currently trading on. Before moving on forward, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave notifications on for this channel. Don't forget to drop a like, and if you would like to join our Discord, totally free in the description below. In terms of institutional buyers, what we're seeing here is institutions are a little bit mixed. You had Riley Financial Advisors liquidating their entire position, but you have others like Hamilton Lane Advisors on the 14th adding some shares, around 33,000 shares. And there's back and forth. So it's not really something significant where you're seeing exodus or adding. It's kind of somewhere in between. In terms of insiders, they've been exercising a lot of these shares, haven't seen selling activities, so that's good. In terms of the short interest, is around 2.30 days to cover. Currently, the short volume is around 51%, and the total shares availability is around 6.5 million, with around only 0.78% of the short borrow fee rate. Currently, the short interest is somewhere around 50% of the entire stock volume. That's the short volume ratio, not the short interest. The short interest is only around 1108. So let's move on now towards technical analysis. In terms of the technical analysis, we have a few of them here that look interesting. First off, the moving averages are starting to curve upwards, and that's a good thing. Above the 632, it crosses the 50 SMA, making it bullish. In terms of the average directional index, nothing really significant here. It's been around the 30s for a while, so nothing really to report on. Although the William percent R, which is very similar to the relative strength index and the RSI, shows that this stock is on the borderline of being overbought, meaning there's a lot more buyers' interest than selling, which is kind of a good thing in general, but usually means when the momentum is reached at its max, it usually drops back quite significantly in a pullback. Now, in terms of the MACD, you're able to see that that momentum grasp is actually leading up higher. We're currently going into almost a multi-day resistance testing, where it does attempt to break each resistance with a good momentum, a good punch. Now, in terms of momentum itself, it's at 115. The last time we've seen this indicator almost this high was back on the 7th of September. There wasn't much significance to it back then. That was mainly resistance from short selling and panic selling versus buying after it dropped from the 1069. That was mainly towards the earnings in general. But the last other part was, in terms of momentum, was literally before the drop, and that was negative momentum in general. Now, let's move on towards the stochastic fast and stochastic slow. All points on here are curving upwards, suggesting that we might actually get another positive reversal for this one. And in terms of the moving averages band and the Bollinger Bands, the Bollinger Band is expected to trade 623 on the top and 447 on the bottom. So, and this one really poked into that today, and the Bollinger Bands is currently horizontal, adjusting back upwards. So is the moving average bands, and that's a good thing. In terms of the Fibonacci retracements, we're able to see a significant resistance level around 1128, 1540, 1873, 2206, and 2680. The support is at 461. However, we can take a look at some significant resistances that are very important. Currently, there's a support at 589, following that 553, down to 503, and then down to 461. Resistances, there's a few. Currently 621 is a resistance, 672, 777, 895 going to 959, and then upwards to 1064, 1169, and then jumping quite a lot to 1302, then 1448, then 1512. So you get the idea. In terms of analyst recommendations, we're getting an average price target of 906. That's 49.6% upside from where we're at. And the current average rating is hold based on 10 analyst ratings in the last 3 months. That's 2 buy, 5 hold, and 3 sell. The lowest price target we see is around $4, while the highest is around $28 9 months ago, although in the last 3 months, the highest is $19. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to really happen here? Now, it really all dissolves back to the next earning. If the next earning does at least hit somewhere between the 700 million in operating income and their adjusted EBITDA to hit below 55, you might actually see a massive jump in the stock price. However, if it does continue to slide and you're hitting closer towards the 600 million in operating income and closer towards the 100 million operating loss, or not operating loss, adjusted EBITDA, this might be in a massive trouble where the stock will continue to slip. Now, it's on a really thin ice, but you can anticipate closer towards the price point or closer towards the conference, the price point would see some bullish push from retail itself, and that day is the 10th of November. So we can anticipate from here for the next 2 weeks, we will get higher volatility and the action in terms of volumes are definitely increasing. So you definitely can trade this one. It's a little bit higher risk, but currently it's very much at the bottom of the chart. And it was on the bottom before, but for a short term, this might really make a good trade. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.